I have spent nearly a century observing human stupidity. And if there is one constant that spans empires, wars, market collapses, and technological revolutions, it is the infinite capacity of human beings to financially self-destruct while smiling, convinced they are being clever. From the fall of Rome to the tulip mania in Holland, biology has not changed. The scenery changes, the suits change, the technology changes. But the animal beneath the suit remains the same anxious monkey who prefers a banana today over a banana plantation 10 years from now. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is more tragic than watching the middle-aged optimist, the fellow who has reached 40 or 50, looks at his stagnant net worth and tells himself the most comforting and poisonous lie of all: I still have time. Let me be brutally honest with you, because the market will not be. You probably don't have the time you think you do. You believe the pop culture narrative that life begins at 40, that it is a second youth. Mathematically, financially, this is a fraud. At 40, if you have no accumulated capital, you are not at the start of an exciting new journey. You are in an emergency. You are bleeding time, and time is the oxygen of compound interest. When you were 20, you could afford to be stupid. You could make mistakes, lose everything, and the simple gravity of time and career would pull you back to the surface. But now the sand in the hourglass is running out. And the harsh reality, the one no one wants to tell you at dinner parties so as not to spoil the wine, is that the compound interest curve is exponential. And you have just wasted the flat part of the curve where the effort is small and time does the heavy lifting, to get the same result as someone who started taking this seriously at 20. You now don't just need to be disciplined. You need to make obscene contributions. You need to run a marathon at sprint speed. And most of you won't make it. Not because the world is unfair, but because you continue to operate with the same defective mental software that kept you mediocre until now. You think you're going to get rich finding the next big thing, the next cryptocurrency, the next tech stock. You are looking for a lottery ticket because, deep down, you know you wasted the mathematical advantage of boredom. And this search for the shortcut is exactly what guarantees your ruin. Let's dissect what is happening inside your skull, because if you don't understand the machine, you can't fix it. The problem is not your salary. The problem is not the government. The problem is that your brain is a survival machine designed for the African savannah trying to operate in a modern capital market. On the savannah, if you saw food, you ate it immediately, because tomorrow it might not be there, or you might have been eaten by a lion. The concept of saving for 30 years from now is a biological aberration. It is unnatural. Your limbic system, the primitive and emotional part of your brain, screams for immediate reward. It wants the new car now. It wants the expensive dinner now. It treats your future self, that 80-year-old man who will need medicine and comfort, like a complete stranger. In fact, studies show that when you think about yourself in the future, the areas of the brain that light up are the same as when you think about someone else. You feel no empathy for your future self. You rob him. Every time you spend money you don't have to buy something you don't need. You are literally looting the resources of the vulnerable old man you will become. And this leads us to the diagnosis of your current life. You work hard. You are smart. You probably earn more money today than you did 10 years ago. But you are not rich. Why? Because you fell into the trap of lifestyle inflation. It is the disease of the middle class. You get a raise, and, instantly, like a Pavlovian reflex, you increase your spending. You move to a better neighborhood, buy a safer car, put the kids in a more prestigious school. You call this progress. I call it financial suicide in slow motion. You are running on a treadmill that gets faster and faster. You look successful to your neighbors. You have the status symbols, but inside, you are terrified. You know that if the paycheck stops for 3 months, the house of cards collapses. You haven't built wealth. You've built a golden cage of high fixed costs. And the worst part, you do this to impress people who, in reality, don't care about you. Your neighbor isn't admiring your new car. He's just feeling envy and thinking about his own car. You are trapped in a cycle of social mimicry, spending money you don't have, to buy things you don't need, to impress people you don't like. I'm not here to sell you a dream. I'm not going to tell you that you'll get rich quick. If anyone tells you that, run, because they are trying to steal the little you have left. The window to get rich quick has probably already closed for you. But there is still a window to avoid dying poor. There is still a window to build armored dignity. But this will require you to do something most people find repugnant. Embrace boredom, strategic deprivation, and mathematical reality. Your bankruptcy plan is going very well. If you want to change it, you need to radically invert your behavior. And when I say invert, I refer to Jacobi's golden rule. Invert, always invert. If you want to know how to help India, ask yourself what would cause the most damage to India and avoid that. If you want to know how to be rich, look at what guarantees poverty and run in the opposite direction. And what guarantees poverty in old age? Spending everything you earn, carrying debt, and trying to be smarter than the market. Let's talk about the first pillar of your salvation, and I warn you, it isn't sexy. It is about the radical inversion of expenses. Most people think wealth is what you earn. Wrong. Wealth is what you keep. If you earn $1 million and spend $1 million, you are broke. You are just a high-speed money conduit. True financial independence comes from having low desires. I lived in the same house for decades, not because I couldn't buy an island, but because I didn't need an island to be happy. Comfort is the enemy of progress. You need to learn to live rungs below your income, not within it. Living within your income is walking on the edge of the abyss. Any wind knocks you over. You need to create a gigantic margin of safety. And this will hurt. It will mean selling that car you think you deserve. It will mean living in a smaller house than the bank says you can afford. It will mean cutting the fat until you hit the bone. Why? Because you desperately need to gather the first 100,000. The first 100,000 is the hardest, dirtiest, most agonizing money you will ever earn in your life. It is trench warfare. You are fighting without leverage. You are saving money from your sweat, and it seems like it doesn't grow. You save 5,000. The car breaks down. You save 10,000. The roof leaks. The world conspires to keep you poor. But you have to cross that desert. Without capital, you are just a hamster on a wheel. You work for money, but money doesn't work for you. It is modern slavery. But at the magical moment you cross the 100,000 barrier, something changes. Physics changes. A 10% return is now 10,000. Money starts having children. Capital starts pulling its own weight. But you will never, ever get there if you continue trading your future for instant gratification. You need to be stubborn. You need to look at conspicuous consumption and feel disgust, not desire. You need to look at a luxury car and see only lost opportunity and compound interest murdered in the crib. The second pillar is the merciless elimination of financial cancer, which you affectionately know as debt. Consumer debt, credit cards, financing things that depreciate. This is not a financial tool. It is a chain around your neck. Compound interest is the most powerful force in the financial universe. and you have chosen to position yourself on the wrong side of it. When you have debt, compound interest is working tirelessly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to destroy you. It doesn't sleep, it doesn't take vacations, and it has no mercy. I saw brilliant men, with stratospheric IQs, go to ruin because they couldn't resist leverage. They wanted to get rich quick, so they borrowed, and when the market turned against them, the market always turns. Eventually, leverage crushed them. If you have credit card debt, you are in an emergency. Don't invest. Don't think about the stock market. Pay the damn debt. Every dollar you use to pay off a 20% annual debt is the best guaranteed investment you will ever make in your life. Eliminate it with the fury of someone who is drowning and kicks to reach the surface. As long as you owe, you are not a free man. You are property of the bank. Now, assuming you have stopped the bleeding of spending and eliminated the cancer of debt, what to do with the capital? This is where the third pillar comes in, and it will hurt your ego. Betting on great business through index funds and solid dividends. You think you can pick winning stocks. You think you can read a balance sheet better than Wall Street algorithms. Arrogance is the anteroom of destruction. Most professional managers cannot beat the market consistently. What makes you think you, reading old news on the internet in your spare time, will succeed? Stop trying to find the needle in the haystack. Buy the whole haystack. Buy the S&P 500. Buy a global index. When you do this, you are not betting on a horse. You are betting that humanity will continue waking up early, drinking coffee, innovating, building, selling, and trying to improve their lives. It is a bet on human productivity, and it is a bet that has worked for centuries. Combine this with solid companies, the boring ones, those that have paid dividends for 50 years, those that sell toothpaste, soda, electricity, things people need, regardless of whether the world is in crisis or euphoria. These companies are like fortresses. They have wide economic moats. They pay you to wait. The dividend is the proof of sanity in a crazy world. While the stock price goes up and down with the manic depressive mood of the market, the dividend check hits the account. It is real money. It is the profit of the business returning to the owner. And what do you do with it? Do you spend it? No. If you spend it, you kill the magic. You reinvest. You buy more shares of the same boring company. And then compound interest begins to accelerate. It is a snowball. At first, it is small, ridiculous. But if you don't interrupt it, if you have the discipline of a monk, it turns into an avalanche. But beware. Even with the right plan, your brain will try to sabotage you. There are demons lurking, and the worst of them is not greed, it is envy. Greed is simple. It wants more. Envy is tortuous. It wants what the other has. Envy is the only deadly sin that gives you not even a minute of pleasure. Gluttony gives you the taste of food. Lust gives you carnal pleasure. Envy, it only gives you heartburn. It only gives you the pain of seeing others' success. You will see your brother-in-law getting rich with some idiotic cryptocurrency or a dubious scheme. He will brag at the barbecue. He will buy a new car. And you, with your boring plan of indices and savings, will feel like a sucker. This is the test. If you give in to envy and try to copy his stupidity, you will lose. Remember, in bubbles, garbage floats. Idiots look like geniuses in bull markets. But the tide always goes out, and that is when we discover who was swimming naked. Don't change your course because of others' noise. Let them blow themselves up. Your race is against yourself, against your own mortality and future needs. Another fatal error is impatience disguised as action. Human beings have a bias for action. We think doing something is always better than doing nothing. In the financial market, This is false. Money is transferred from the active to the patient. Inactivity is a superpower. Once you have bought good assets, the best thing you can do is sit on your hands. Literally, go fishing. Go read a book. Don't open the brokerage app. The more you look, the more you see volatility. The more you see volatility, the more you feel fear. The more you feel fear, the greater the chance of doing something colossally stupid, like selling at the bottom of a crisis. The market will fall. It will fall 30%, 40%, 50%. This is not a bug in the system, it is a feature. If you don't have the stomach to see your net worth drop 50% without panicking, you shouldn't be in the stock market. You need cash on hand, a robust emergency fund. Not to invest, but to give you the luxury of not being forced to sell your stocks when the world is ending. Cash gives you optionality. It lets you sleep. And sleeping well is the best investment there is. And beware of arrogance. The moment you think you understand the market, that you have mastered the game, is the moment the market is preparing to punch you in the stomach. Stay within your circle of competence. Knowing what you don't know is more useful than being brilliant. Warren and I missed billions in opportunities. We didn't buy Amazon. We didn't buy Google at the start. So what? We didn't understand. It wasn't part of our competence. We missed the gain, but we didn't lose sleep. And, more importantly, we didn't lose the principle. You don't need to get everyone right. You just need to get a few big decisions right in life and not make any catastrophic mistakes. The investing life is about avoiding stupidity, not seeking genius. If you can go your whole life without leveraging yourself, without joining pyramid schemes, without marrying the wrong person, and without spending more than you earn, you will end up rich. It is the via success is what remains when you remove all forms of guaranteed failure. Think about death. Yes, it is morbid, but it is necessary. The only certainty you have is that you will die. The question is, what will your last 20 years be like? Will they be years of dignity, where you have the resources to pay for the best care? Where you are a patriarch or matriarch helping the family? Or will they be years of anxiety, dependence, and shame? Money is not about buying Ferraris. It is about buying your independence. It is about buying the right to say no to anyone, to any boss, to any obligation you don't want. It is about the freedom to wake up in the morning and say, "Today I will do whatever I want." This is real wealth. And the price of this wealth is boredom today. It is discipline today. It is the ability to delay gratification while everyone around you is gorging themselves at the buffet of life. Be boring. Boredom is profitable. Excitement is expensive. If you are having fun investing, you are probably losing money. Good investing should be like watching paint dry or grass grow. If you want excitement, go to Las Vegas, but take only the money you can burn. With your life's money, be a paranoid conservative. Build a fortress that neither inflation, nor recession, nor political incompetence can knock down. Remember the golden rule of inversion. All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there. Find out where poverty lives, in old age, in debt, in overspending, in speculation, in impatient sand. Solemnly swear never to set foot there. You don't need to be a genius. I knew many geniuses who died poor because they couldn't control their own temperament. You just need to be a little less stupid than the average, for a very, very long time. It is consistency, not intensity, that compounds. It is the daily habit of spending less, the daily refusal to follow the herd, the daily patience to let the plant grow without pulling it out of the ground to see the roots. The first 100,000 will hurt. It will take years. You will want to quit. Don't quit. Because, on the other side of that barrier of pain, there is a world where money works for you, and not the other way around. A world where you own your time. And that, my friend, is the only game worth playing. Now, stop feeling sorry for yourself, stop looking for shortcuts, and go do the boring, hard work. Your 80-year-old self is watching you, and he is praying you don't screw it up this time.